Hey guys, Chris here. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the new video and audio equipment. It should be much clearer picture, much clearer sound. Hopefully that's the case. I just wanted to show you guys something real quick. So I have the press set up where the press is making, this is where I have it set for 40 grain 22 caliber slugs. That's with lead wire. When I do this with cast slugs, I'm going to show you what the weight is, I'll show you what the weight is when I do it with lead wire, because it makes a big difference. Let me point you down a little bit. Okay, so hopefully this scale is coming in clear. Alright, let's tear that. Alright, so this is one that I just pressed. 41.7, just about 42 grain. When I do the same exact, I won't even make an adjustment, and with the lead wire, 40.2, 40 grain. So you're getting a grain and a half difference just by using cast material. So that's why I do like cast material, because I use 100% lead. There's no additives in here except for a small amount of tin, which makes it easier to cast. So you can get some extra grain weight without taking any extra space in the magazines for your impact, you know, because the Panthera can fit it, but for your impact or crowns or Mavericks or anything like that don't have the deeper slug well, you can get a heavier slug in there just by using cast material. So I'm gonna actually try to change this to the settings where I have all my settings saved here for where it needs to be for what grain weight. So 43 grain would not fit in even the stud magazines. 42 grain will, and that's number, I have to go to number 6 here. So I'm gonna put this to the side because I don't want to mix them up, and I'm gonna go ahead and raise this up to 6 and see how much weight it's gonna be with the cast material. Okay. The only thing with the cast ones is they usually, you know, they're not exact size, obviously, because I'm casting them. I think these are like 62 or 63 grain, something like that. And these are perfect because I can use them for 22 or 25 caliber, anything under 60 grain, which even the 25 caliber I usually do under 60 grain. 50 is my preference. So one more time, let me show you the scale before I don't even know what this is going to be myself. So here's the slug I just pressed. So we got 42.5. So that only added half a grain, but it's better than nothing, and that's the highest you're going to get it. That's the highest weight that you can get that's going to fit in an FX Impact magazine. So I just need to move all of this stuff down a row, because I'm going to keep a whole bin, or I mean a whole drawer of the heaviest that I can in 22 and all the sizes right below it. There's my 48 grain 25. It's 40s, more 48s. More 48s, those are my favorite size, obviously. And then, okay, these two are gonna, no, I'm sorry, next row up. Those are the 42 grain. Those are the really light store-bought ones that I had left over. Okay, so 38, 38. I'm going to do two 40s, a 42, and then this, no, I'm going to do a 40, a 42, which is cast, that's the same size as a 40, and then I'm going to do a 42.5, which is the one I just pressed. Let me just see if that's going to be consistent. Let's just do a few more. And then I'll weigh all 3 of these. Tear that. Okay, 42.5. 42.5. So yes, it's very consistent. You're going to get 42.5 out of where you would get 42, and there's no size difference. That's the beauty part. No size difference whatsoever. So you'll get 42.5. I mean, it's only half a grain, but honestly on the 40s, it goes, these are all in the same way I would press 40s out of wire, and they're 41.6. 41.8, you know, it's almost 42 grain out of a 40. I'm not sure why this one isn't adding as much, because I know that's where I'm getting that size. But anyways, you can definitely make a little bit. Oh, here we go, 43 grain. So I mean, I just got a 43 grain out of it. Maybe it needed to settle in. Let's see what this one is. Yeah, 43. Alright, so the 42s are going to get 43s and be the same diameter. And I'll test it to make sure that they fit in the magazines, but I believe that they will, because this is the size that fits in the magazines. So, just so you know, you can get much bigger slugs that will still fit in the magazines with using cast material. And this is all melted down slugs that I had bought and fired. And they're melted down, and then a small, like I ordered a bag of little pellets of tin, and those little pellets of tin, I add 1 or 2 depending on how big the pot is. I have a 20-pound pot now, so for a 20-pound pot, I'll put 2 of those little pellets in. I mean, they're not that little, but they're not like a pellet, but they're maybe like 3 or 4 pellets. They're very small in comparison to the amount of lead. So, and at the temperature, because number one, I'm taking it out of the bullet trap, so I'm getting all kinds of wood and fragments of targets. So I put those in the actual like smelting furnace to burn all the crap off and get it up to 2,000 something degrees, and then I let that solidify in the crucible, and then I knock it out of the crucible in a big chunk, and then I melt that down into the melting pot to cast. So it's really 100% clean lead. Like there's no other contaminants in there because I'm burning everything off. You know, at the 2,000 degree mark, you're not gonna have anything left. I mean, I can melt aluminum and copper in that thing, so there's nothing left. It's just lead. And you remove all the dirt. You know, you put some casting flux in there, takes all the dirt out, and you know, you're good to go. So I'm not going to make too many more of these right now, because I do want to show you guys something, because I just watched a video and it was on, everybody's raving about these element optic scopes, like the Nexus, the Titan, the Theos. Frankly, I bought one and I've tried the other 2. They all suck. I mean, the higher end ones don't suck, but they're not comparable at all to other scopes in the same price range or slightly different price range. For instance, the Razer LT2 is a $1,500 scope. That scope smokes the Theos. It smokes every single element optic scope. Even better than that, I have a Bushnell Elite Tactical DMR3. that scope beats every single one of those by so much. And also it has a wide angle, and I have a thermal clip-on that goes on it because it's a 50mm objective, since it's 3.5 to 22, but also has a 34mm tube and gets a ton of light, has a ton of adjustment, and who really goes over 22 power and zoom very often? And when I do, I have a Bushnell, I'm sorry, a Burris XTR3 that is so much clearer than any of the Element scopes. And I'm going to show those to you through the Tacticam and let you guys see just how much clearer they are. I don't have any Element scopes left because those were all returned. They looked good at first at short range, and then I shot them at 100 yards, and they were sad, to be honest with you. I mean, my Burris, I can look at 500, 600, 1,000 yards and get complete clarity. The Titan, or not, the Element Titan, yes. I couldn't get complete clarity at 100 yards. So I know these people that are raving about it. It must be because FX is financially backing Element Optics and they're loyal to FX, where my loyalty begins and ends with FX at the fact that I like their guns. That's it. I don't get sponsored by anyone. I don't look to get my YouTube channel supported by anyone. I'm not interested in any of that. I'm interested in giving you guys the truth and making mistakes so that you guys don't have to, because luckily I'm capable of fixing those mistakes, and maybe some people aren't. So if there's a way that I can help you guys that way, that's why I do this. And you know, I do this, as you can see, the video quality and the audio quality has improved dramatically. That's because I spent about $2,400 on audio and video equipment in order to make these videos clearer for you guys. So, and I don't get any compensation for that. That's out of my pocket. So, and I don't want any compensation for that, because my feedback on all this stuff is completely impartial. There's nothing swaying me one way or another, like stud mag loaders. I think Doug is a genius. I think he's a really talented guy, and I think he made a superior product. And I'm telling you guys that genuinely, because I got to know the man by talking to him a few times, and he's a very talented person. And I mean, don't get me wrong, FX has some incredibly talented people, and I'm not knocking FX at all. What I am knocking is the people who support FX automatically support Element Optics just because FX is financially backing them, which is, you know, less than ethical. We'll put it that way. It's less than ethical, because they're selling people a false bill of hope, or whatever you want to call it, because people are buying these, you know, $800, $1,500, $2,200 scopes. They're expecting top of the line, but they don't even realize they're not getting it. Because it may look like a great scope if you haven't tried these other scopes, but for $1,500 you can get a scope that's better than their $2,200 scope, and far better than any of their other scopes. And that's the Bushnell XTR. I'm sorry, the Bushnell DMR3, the Bushnell Elite Tactical DMR3, 3.5 to 22, which I like having a 3.5 on one of the guns at least, because sometimes you need that wider angle, and to be able to have a wider field of view. For me, I need that fairly often because I'm in the city. I don't have that many places I can shoot long range. When I do, the Burris XTR3 is a 6 to 36. So, and even at 36 power, you could be looking 500, 600, 700 yards away and have a perfectly clear view. You're not going to be shooting any air guns farther than that. It's a rifle scope. It's meant to be on a rifle that can shoot thousands of yards, not hundreds, thousands. So when it comes to hundreds, you're going to have the utmost clarity. So I'm going to show all of that to you. I'm going to do another video shortly here, and I'm going to bring out the thermal clip-on so you guys can see that, as well as that Bushnell and the Burris, which one is on one of the impacts that I have, and the other is on the Pantera. So the Pantera obviously has the longer range scope, because that's the way I use it. But the scopes are, even honestly, even you can compare to the Titan. All right, so I had the Titan. Compared to the Titan, the Vortex Venom is $500. That scope is so far superior to the I won't speak to the other two because I haven't really compared them side by side. And Vortex warranty is crazy. Like they overnighted the scope in and then back to me because it wasn't tracking right. I got it back in 3 days and it was tracking perfectly, and it has ever since. And that's the first Vortex scope that I've ever had not track properly. And I will say for the Burris and the Elite Tactical, those scopes track flawlessly. They are amazing scopes. So I just want to put that out there before anybody else goes and spends, you know, $2,000 on an Element Optics scope. You can spend $500 to $1,500 on a Vortex. Here's one right here on my crown. That's a Vortex Venom on my crown right there. Alright, that's a $500 scope. And it's so far superior to the Element Titan, and that's $300 less. That is so far superior. That is really up there with the Titan. I mean, honestly, it's comparable to the Titan. The Burris on top on the Pantera, you can't compare any of their scopes to that. It's just not even a fair comparison. You just can't. And I'll show you the DMR3. It's on my Impact, which is out in my truck. So I'm gonna wrap this video up with having given you guys the information that you can get higher grain weight in your slugs if you're making them yourself. If not, if you guys are interested, I'm happy to I'm happy to make some and sell them to you guys. I've been selling some on eBay, and people have been very impressed with the accuracy, because these are the exact diameter that especially the heavy slug liners like, but even the STX liners, I was getting groups, you know, like groups like this. These are 8 shots, and those are in 25 caliber, and these are more 8 shots in 25 caliber. You know, it's getting some incredibly tight groups, and I can show you even tighter groups that it's shooting now, because in 22 caliber it's like a hole like this for 8 shots. And I mean, I have the 50-yard NHRA targets, and I'm taking the dead center 10-point shot on them almost every time. And that's with both the Pantera in 25 and the 22 Impact. And then my other Impact is going to be a 30 caliber. I haven't finished setting it up yet, but I got 700 millimeters for all of them. So I mean, you can see where the holes are. I mean, there's a couple that are further off than I'd like them to be, but I mean, here, a little off here. I mean, here, they're mostly dead center. They're more dead center than they are off. And the ones that are off are not that far. And that's at 50 yards, and they're 50-yard targets. So they're much smaller than the bench rest 100-yard targets. And with them being that much smaller, they're appropriate for 50 yards to be, you know, commensurate with shooting 100 yards with targets that are 4 times that size. The only difference is the pellets that you have to use on the bench rest, which unfortunately I'm not going to make it to RMAC this year because I have something more important to do, which is go on a nice vacation with my fiance. And I'm taking her to either Aruba or Bora Bora. I haven't decided because Bora Bora might be saved for the honeymoon. But I will tell you one thing, that's more important than an air gun competition. That's for damn sure. The air gun competition is important to me because I have a lot of fun, I meet a lot of good people, but the vacation to decompress from a job like mine is a necessity, an absolute necessity. So I have to do it. It's been 5 years. I've taken a couple of weekend getaways, but I haven't taken more than that in 5 years. So I'm taking a real vacation. So I'm just going to press a few more slugs here, and I'm going to heat up the melting pot because I'm going to make some more of these to cast because I want to fill these drawers up so that I have them when I need them. And cutting, the wire cutting is so easy now. I came up with this system. I'm going to show you really quick before I end the video. So I bought this cutter. I don't know if you guys, no, you can't see it. I'll show you. Okay, this is the cutter I ordered on eBay. Where is it? Let me see. There, right there. That silver thing right here. Boom. That's how you cut it. And there's 2 different diameter holes for 22 and then 25 and 30 fits in the other. And then right here, I put the spool of wire. Right here, I made a bracket and I hung it on the bracket so that the roll is gonna spin right there. And then I spin it right to there. And then as I slide it in, I mean, I can literally cut hundreds of these in a very, very short period of time. It goes so fast. I wish I could press them that fast, but no such luck there. So anyways, that's something to think about. That cutter was 40 bucks on eBay. $40. So I don't have anything bad to say about Wolfeet Group where I bought this press. I would highly recommend them for the press. But the dies, the dies are great. I got all the dies from them. The cutter and the molds are not so much. The molds you can get from Lee Precision for like $50 or $60 and then a $20 handle instead of $419 for both. I mean, granted, they're not anodized, but guess what? You're going to be putting 700 degree lead into it. So the anodization is not going to be lasting very long anyway. So do yourself a favor, save yourself some money. Definitely buy the slug press because this thing is phenomenal. I couldn't recommend it higher. I've had the most accuracy I've ever had with an air gun with slugs that came out of this press. And the dies are great. They fit all calibers, you know, perfectly well, especially for FX guns and especially for the Western Rattler, because that's the only slugs I'm shooting out of it are 357s that I made with this press. And that you can see right here, I have a ton of, these are 30 caliber. These are 30 caliber 160 grain slugs. And I make a bunch of these and I press these into 130 grain, 150 grain, 160 grain. I press those into these. So, and just in case you can't see, that's a big old hollow point slug. Or these are 150. A little bit smaller. And then the most commonly used one for me is the 130s. And these will travel 1,050 feet per second out of that rattler. And I had to put a 700cc tank, and frankly, I think I need to get the double tank adapter and put two 700s, because that thing goes through a lot of air, and you're not going to get out of a 700cc. You might get a full magazine, 15 shots, which is enough if you're hunting, but if you're target shooting, you're going to have to tether it every time, even with a 700. You know, because you're not going to need more than 15 shots to hit whatever you're hunting at, whatever you're hunting. But you may want a lot more than 15 shots when you're shooting, but you may not care about tethering it. So I haven't put the double bottle on it because I think it's going to look kind of corny. But we'll see how it goes in the future. If I change my mind and I decide to put it on. I'm definitely not leaning that way right now, but I also haven't started hunting with it yet, other than a couple of raccoons. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, and I blew up a crow from 112 yards away. Literally blew it up. So that's how serious that gun is. Way more serious than anything FX makes. But FX makes some unbelievably high precision and very powerful guns. They just can't compete with a Western Rattler. But so anyways, I'm gonna move on to scopes. I'm gonna make another video separately. I'm gonna go heat up the melting pot and get that ready to start casting some more stuff while I'm making the other video, so that when I'm done I can start doing that, because I have some stuff I have to do today, but not a whole heck of a lot. So I'm trying to get some of this stuff done while I have time, because my guys have my jobs under control, and the apartment I needed to rent is rented as of yesterday, so I have some time to get some of this stuff done and make a couple videos for you guys. So this is Chris signing off, and I will see you guys momentarily. Okay, bye bye.